Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 36 Deadline stream. And it's live. Over the next 55 minutes or so, I'll try and get through as many of your FPL dilemmas as possible between now and the 1:30 PM UK time deadline. Unusually late. Did anyone else have a lie-in this morning? No, me neither. That's what happens when you've got kids. Team on screen for me, top right-hand corner. I am on bench boost, transfer rolled. I line up with Schmeichel, Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, Laporte, Captain Mo Salah, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Watkins and Ketcher, Richarlison. The bench boost is Ben Foster, Philip Coutinho, Matty Cash and Anthony Gordon. Below that, you'll see my top 10 captaincy preferences in order. This week, I think Cancelo is the standout of the defensive premiums this week. That's the only one really up. Maybe Trent, but those are the... Cancelo's the one I would want to stick it on if I was going for defensive. KDB, Sonny, even Saka, Harry Kane. If you want to punt a Mahrez, Sterling, a Jota, fine. I think that Mo's obviously going to be the most captained, isn't he? But you don't have to play it that way. Right at the bottom of the screen on the grey ticker going across the bottom, you will see upcoming remaining fixtures for all 20 teams. Fixtures in blue indicate double game weeks. And coming onto the screen for you now are my correct score predictions for all 16 games in this coming double game week. Sorry, it's a bit small, but there's 16 games there basically. And also coming onto the screen now is the benching dilemmas graphic, which no one likes to take any notice of, although they also don't take much notice of the captaincy picks either. Page 1, the preference is Nketiah over Kulusevski, over Rafinha, over Pukki, over Dennis. The player with the tick is the preferred choice between the two players. Page 2, Dennis over Coutinho, over Ronaldo, over Gordon, over Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Page 3, Dewsbury Hall over Cash, over Sessegnon, over Cody, over Daniel Amati. Page 4, Amati over Mateta, who, to be honest, I've literally just heard before going on there, there's quite a strong rumour going around that Mateta's not going to start for Crystal Palace. And that adds on to the comments I said on the team news stream I did for advanced tier patrons last night about Zaha potentially playing centrally through the middle. So I'll bring that back on screen for you while I talk through it. Mateta, I would probably now put at the bottom of that, but I'm not changing it now. Over Tony, over Weghorst, over Breuer. And finally for the keepers for you on page 5, Schmeichel over Ramsdale, over Pickford, over Jose Sarr, over Foster. Please check graphics on screen before submitting a question, because there's every chance the answer to your question will be on screen. Right, that's the graphics done. Let's get into the questions. James, pour yourself some water for God's sakes, mate. We'll try and make this fast paced for you guys. Please try and avoid repeat questions. Like, if you're asking me who would I captain this way, I'm probably just going to avoid, unless you're saying I'm chasing, in which case the answer is probably going to be Kevin De Bruyne anyway. Right, good luck everyone. James98 says, hi mate, hope all is well. Currently on bench boost and have one free transfer. Would you go Robertson to Diaz or Kane to Richarlison? Leaning towards Richarlison move as no free hit left for 37. Thanks. I'd arguably roll, do what I've done. I think there's real power in potentially rolling for next week. So, look, I've got players there who I don't think will play twice. Robertson, I'm pretty sure, gets a rest at Villa in midweek. Phil Foden, I'm not expecting to start tomorrow. Laporte's always a little bit dodgy. I wouldn't even be surprised if Coutinho doesn't play twice, for example. So I'm probably expecting sort of 24, 25 circa starters from the 30 available that I've got this week across the double game week. But arguably, I'd leave that, mate, possibly. It could be power and rolling. Do you really, really think Richarlison outscores Kane this week? If you do, fine, go. It sounds like Saint leans towards next week. You can still go and get him next week. Tom Dart says, should I do either Mount to Foden or James to Diaz, both for a -4? No, wouldn't do either. On the Chelsea defensive assets, you're not going to get a lot of advice to sell them. I think they could return big today. Reece James and Marcus Alonso I would not bin. The forward players, certain circumstances, yes, I would. For -4s, no, I don't think so. And in that case, like, Mount is probably the most likely Chelsea player to play twice, isn't he, of the offensive players? So I'd leave it. My Toast says, hi James, is Coutinho out for a hit worth it for any mids worth 7.5 million or less? Good luck this game week. Yes, if you don't have Saka, otherwise no, I think. Andrew Grondin says, hi James, -8 for bench boost question. Sarr to Schmeichel, Pedro to Nketiah, White to Mings. Don't trust Arteta at all regarding White after surprise injury. So you want to think about this. You want to potentially take a hit to go from White to Mings, and Mings' second game's Liverpool. What are you expecting? I think White will start for Arsenal tomorrow. The quote was, he needs to come through today, as in Saturday's training session. So I think he's already partly been involved. I think he'll probably play, personally. The other two, yes. Navin says, hi James, should I sell Kane to Nketiah and Ramsey to KDB captain for -4? Or just Ramsey to Gordon? Already have Salah and Kulusevski. No Son, free hitting in 37. Good luck. I would say yes, make the move, because it also opens up the possibility for you to move to Son in 38, whereas otherwise you're doing it for hits. So I'm going to say yes, go for it. Plus, sounds like you want to captain KDB, so go for it. Maito says, hi James, also, where is the intro commentary from on your Patreon pods from? Sounds South American. Mate, it's exactly the same as the normal pods. I've had this a few times. Oh, wait, it's not just the Patreon pods, it's both. The commentaries from Messi's goal for Barcelona against Getafe, but that's for all the pods, mate. Alistair Coper says, hey, mate, Ankara Messi. Hey, mate, leaning Cancelo and Schmeichel over Laporte and Edison. You reckon that looks best for 36 and 38? Thanks. Not necessarily if you factor in 38 as well, but I'm pretty sure Schmeichel plays against Southampton now, doesn't he? I think it'd have been a doubt if Leicester had won Thursday. I'm going to say yes, mate. Steve Greenwell says, morning, James. Still considering Maddison and Mount to KDB and Rafinha or Gordon from -4. Like the KDB differential. I'm on bench boost 36 and free hit 38. Sounds like you've already made your decision there, Steve. I've got nothing to add. Joe Marshall says, hi, James, on free hit. James, Laporte and mate or Tavares. Who's mate? Is it meant to be Matip? Diaz and Van Dijk. I'm going to assume it's meant to be Matip. I would go Tavares, Diaz and Van Dijk, mate. Kier says, what do you think of DCL and Mina for the rest of the season in regards to playing time returns? Not exactly thinking in terms of FPL. I can't see Everton rushing Calvert-Lewin. What's the point? Mina, they'll try and get on the pitch for as many games as possible, but he is so injury prone that I wouldn't even be surprised if they're selective and go, right, we've got a better chance of winning at Watford. He definitely plays at Watford. I wouldn't be surprised if Everton take that attitude of him. So, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, no, I wouldn't consider either. Dylan Ferner Rose says, hey, James just brought in Schmeichel. Should I spend -4 to bring in Saka, or does Havertz deserve the benefit of the doubt for the sake of 4 points? Many thanks, boss. Difficult one. I think with that in mind and what's to come in the final games, I think I would prefer to have Saka there, personally. Is it worth a -4? Arguably not. For free, yeah. For -4, I think it's borderline. Who would you rather look at the end of the season, Gameweek 38? If the answer's Saka, do it. Ali Bismo says, hi James, pumped for the bench boost. Would you pick Richarlison and Tavares or Dennis and Ruben Diaz? Cheers, boss. I'd go to Richarlison, mate. Joe Finley Batter says, hi James, on my way to Selhurst Park. Good luck, buddy. Sterling and Robertson to KDB captain plus VVD, or Sterling and Dennis to Morris and Richarlison, both would be -4. I think I prefer the first option, Joe. Good luck, mate. James98 says, also have Foster, Gordon, Dewsbury Hall and Nketiah on bench boost. Do you think that's enough for bench boost? Get around 16-20 points from that. Cheers. Yeah, you probably need an Nketiah goal, and if you get it, then yeah, you should hit it. Stephen Moore says, hi James, on free hit, Schmeichel and Jesus, or Edison and Richarlison. For context, my other City players are KDB and Cancelo, if that helps. Also Jota or Diaz as a punt. In Jota, Diaz, you can toss a coin. There is a thought going around at the moment, as discussed yesterday, that Jota will probably play twice rather than Diaz over this particular coming week. And Jota's shown in the past anyway, he can score off the bench and that. So slight preference for Jota from a fantasy perspective. I'm not massively keen on people going Edison or Jesus, a personal opinion. Schmeichel and Jesus or Edison, Richarlison. You're on a free hit as well. Schmeichel, Jesus, mate. Yologul says, good luck this week, James. Would you start White and move Pope to Alisson or sell White for Matip? Thanks. I think White to Matip I would be very tempted to do. Joe Marshall says, mate, should be Matip. Good guessing for me. Joshua Nye says, Havertz and Davis to Gordon and Robertson or Alonso and Kulusevski. I mean, look, Chelsea players I think I wouldn't go and buy now, but those you've got I'd be very reluctant to sell would be my take on it. So I wouldn't go and buy Alonso now. Havertz and Davis to Gordon and Robertson. Again, I wouldn't buy Robertson now. I don't think he starts at Villa on Tuesday, but it's similar for me. I'm not selling. Sod that. Joshua Nice says, Lewis Bowman, says, thoughts on Mikalenko, particularly versus Dean from now. I'd rather you went Luca Dean, despite his troll status. More offensive potential. I think with Mikalenko, yes, he looks like he's going to play every game at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Godfrey shunted out to left back, for example, in a particular game. So if you've got Mina and Holgate fit, or if they want to go with more aerial, or with Michael Keane, for example, I'm not keen on Mikalenko as a choice, personally. Giridan88 says Sterling and Cash to Maddison and Diaz for a -4. Stay as you are, I think, mate. Pavanar says, hey James, hope you're doing well. On a free hit, KDB and Matip or Mahrez and TAA, thanks. On a free hit, KDB and Matip or Mahrez and TAA, thanks. Depends. I mean, if you go KDB, are you captaining? So it would affect that one. Personally, I'd rather have Mahrez TAA, I think. Drive Garodius says, hey James, Mateta looking like he's benched, but I'm already taking -8 to play my bench boost. Should I take another hit to get him out? And if yes, for who? 5.7 in the bank. Yes, you should. You just got to think you'd even make it back in appearance points as the worst case scenario. So ideally Nketiah, if you don't have, is the obvious. Dennis, can you get to? I'm not sure you can. I want to say it's 5.8, I think. There's not a lot else, though. You might find the best options even a -12, possibly. Richard Borgren says, Havertz and Mount to Son and Gordon. Havertz and Dennis to Gordon and Richarlison. Bench boost 36 and 38. Free hit 38. I presume you wanted a question mark in there, Richard. Havertz and Dennis to Gordon and Richarlison. Havertz and Mount to Son and Gordon. Gordon Richarlison. Particularly, it looks like you're obviously free hitting 38, so you want them to next week. Ray Kurashi says, morning James, your thoughts on hits for a bench boost really resonated with me. It would take a -16, which is counterintuitive. Instead, we'll wait until next week and take a -8 as players should be back by then. Good luck, Ray. Josh says, hi James, do you prefer Richarlison or Jota Diaz this week? Would bring two of them in for a -8, free hit 37. Richarlison, great, yeah. But he is less appealing for those free hitting 37, in my opinion. Just remember, you got to look at him game week 38 as well. The slight preferences with Jota over Diaz as it stands. John Cahill says, afternoon, James, mate. On a free hit, and last decision is on whether to go Schmeichel and Alonso or Pickford and Laporte. Playing a back three with Trent and Cancelo as the nailed two. Schmeichel and Alonso or Pickford and Laporte. Pickford and Laporte for me, mate. Ritwick says, doing target out for Cancelo for a free transfer. For -4, would you do Weghorst to Pookie James? Oh, hang on, what's going on here, Ritwick? You're doing target out for Cancelo for a free transfer, or a -4 and -4. Would I do Weghorst to Pookie, James to Laporte, Ramsey to Dewsbury Hall? Ramsey to Gordon would be the preference of all of that. I don't think Dewsbury Hall will start twice. He's still a reasonable get. Like, it is double-double. Weghorst to Pookie makes complete sense. James to Laporte, I'd be less inclined to do. Weghorst to Pookie, I think, mate, would be the priority. Rob picks his last decision to make. Would you buy VVD to get double Liverpool defence, or Ruben Diaz to get triple City defence, just for 36 and 38? Cheers, mate. Enjoy the weekend. Good luck tonight. Thank you, buddy. VVD. I think double City defence is still going to act as a differential for you, Rob. It's part with my decision to go double defensive for both. So I think VVD, mate. FPL marking Coyote. Hi James, hope you're well, mate. Coutinho and Kane to KDB and Jesus for -4, free hit 37. No, I'm not sure I'd bother. To be honest. Not sure. Harry Kane can still do the business. There's not much doubt about that, is there? Alexander Baker says, hi James, with 12 points ahead of my mini league rival, he is triple captain this week on Salah. Should I captain Salah or risk getting a better score from Son or Kane? Both have free hit left. 12 ahead You're looking to block, aren't you? The answer probably lies in the makeup of the rest of your teams, Alexander, but I think with the slight advantage, I'd probably be looking to minimise the damage there. If he gets less than 12, you're still ahead, obviously subject to the rest of your teams. I'd probably look to block, whereas if you go Kane or Son and they blank and Salah goes big, you're in big trouble, aren't you? Rotation FPL, Chelsea correspondence here. Hope you're well, Ted. Says, afternoon, mate. On free hit, KDB and Richarlison or Jesus and your lad's son. KDB, Richarlison, my friend. Premium player FPL says, is there a mid up to 8.3 that is worth a -4 for Mount this week or up to 7.7 for Coutinho? I'm going to say no. Razek says, hi James, do you think FPL have the guts to make any significant changes to make the pool of assets wider, making CDMs viable, etc.? No. Burger Hook says, hi James, on bench boost with 0 in the bank, would you bring in Dewsbury Hall for Ramsey or downgrade Robertson and get a better midfielder? Be tempted to downgrade, actually, because I don't think Dewsbury Hall's the answer. I think it needs to go Gordon or higher, I think. So I'd be tempted to make 2 changes, mate. You could always go someone like Tavares. Be good for this week, maybe, and bench him the last couple. And you can get right up from Dewsbury Hall into kind of Saka's level and stuff. Consider that. Rashid says, excuse me, interjection. Hi, James. Should I transfer Pope to Schmeichel or Pickford on free transfer? No chips left. Also, should I play Reece James in my 11 or transfer Elanga to Gray, Gordon, any other 6 million midfielder for -4? Yeah, look, you're going free for next week. So Elanga to Gordon makes complete sense. Pope to Schmeichel or Pickford, I think over the course of both game weeks is a little bit of a coin toss. I think the no chips left gives a slight preference to Schmeichel. Cherie MC says, hello, thanks for your hard work preparing. Good luck. You're very welcome, Cherie. Best of luck this weekend, mate. Cog says, hi, James. Bench boost this week. Free hit next. Have 15 doublers. 1.6 million in the bank and can move White to Laporte, Diaz, or should I transfer out Dewsbury Hall or Barnes? Thanks. Have a good week. The thing is with the Leicester guys, they've got 2 amazing fixtures, right? And they play once, they can do the business for you. But I'd be very tempted to move that about. Yeah, I think the doubt on White being involved at all would lead me to want to get one of the City guys. Yes. The alternative, move it sideways to something like Tavares, which is what I think Suj is now considering doing. And move off Dewsbury Hall or Barnes. Again, Saka in and around that value. Kulusevski's almost certain to play twice, but it is a difficult double. Then you've got Kulusevski in place for 38. There's loads of different ways to play it. I think the priority there for what you've got, I think I'd be gutted if I kept White and he plays twice, although my instinct is that he will play. Paul Lewis says, hi James, hope you're well. Already used 1 free transfer on Ramsdale to Schmeichel. I think Ramsdale could get 2 clean sheets this week, by the way. 1 free transfer left. Considering a -4 for Richarlison, Gordon in, Breuer, Barnes out, Thoughts, plays. Yep, get it done, Paul, is the advice. Chris Wood says, hi James, Watkins to Richarlison, Fofana to Holgate, or just roll the transfer? You're going to want Watkins next week? No, Chris? Holgate, no certainty on playing twice. I think he probably does, but no certainty. Yeah, I think you're rolling, mate. FPL telling Josh says, morning James, thanks for the advice from yesterday's stream. All the best for the game week, mate. As a United fan, not wanting Paul to win everything, I'll be supporting you boys later. And a lot of the country will be, I think. Matt Bryant says, hi James, Coutinho to KDB for free, or Mount and Coutinho to Son and Mahrez from -4. Already gone Kane to Richarlison to beat a price rise that didn't happen. Like that. You'd be the more chips in play and stuff, the less the price sites can be accurate and stuff. It's difficult for them. That -4 is tempting. My instinct on Mahrez is that he might not start tomorrow and starts at Wolves. Difficult one. Difficult. It's getting Sonny in as well with Mahrez. Does make it look better. I think leave Mason Mount, mate. I just go KDB for free, mate. Ritwick says, is Kane out for Vardy for a -4 worth it? If you captain Vardy, do you think he played 2 games? No, I don't, mate. No, I don't. He played 90 minutes in Rome last night, and there's no reason for them to kill him. I don't think he will, mate. Falano Ty says, hi James, on bench boost, free hit 37. Share and Breuer out for a Marty Shimikas Amarty/Shimikas, and Richarlison or Zinchenko, Matip, and Dennis from -8. Bloody hell, this is long, mate. Or just -4 for Scherzer, Laporte, Diaz, and keeping Breuer. I lost the will to live halfway through that, mate, but get rid of Breuer. Shriniket Cal says on bench boost, is Brandon Williams a keep or move for a -4 to potentially Holgate or even an Alonso, already taking a -8? I think he's a move. I think he's a move as well because, look, he's on loan, and do they start planning for next season? Jan Ulis could play twice, couldn't he? So I think that's a move. Daniel McAdams says, just activated wildcard. Who's your top 11? Kidding. Thanks for your hard work. Cheers. No problem, Daniel. Good luck with that, mate. Lamichi says, hi, James. Hope you're well. Free hit 37. Would you move Sarr, Robertson, Mount to Edison, Matip, Mahrez, or Schmeichel, Ruben, Diaz, Jota? Option 2, mate. Daniel Zamata says, bench boost with Mateta, Tarkovsky, Brownhill, and Breuer. Oh, my God. Or get a double game week player. I'd arguably wait till next week. Mateta might be back in for his double. You got double of Tarkovsky and Brownhill next week. I'd arguably put it off till next week, mate. Jeff Holt says, hi, James. Hope all is okay. Nice to see you. Likewise, Jeff. Not heard from you for a while. Hope everything's okay, mate. Etnic says, hi, James, and good day. Nketiah, Foden, or Gordon Jesus. Bench boost 36. Free hit 37. As always, thank you. Nketiah, Foden, mate. Zaris says, I am 38 points from the top in my mini-league. Do you think Kane captain is a good move? I know that top of my league will captain Salah. Should I try to be different this week or the other? Yes, but Kane wouldn't be near the top of the list. Generally, I'd captain Saka over Kane this week. Look, Harry Kane. Anytime. But reality is tough double. It's a tough double. Christopher says, Richarlison or Watkins? Completely depends, right? Yeah, out of chips, I think you go Richarlison. I think for this week, slight preference for Richarlison. So, I think, James, the answer's Richarlison, isn't it? Owen Walsh, James, brother, I'm bringing in Rodrigo. I had a dream. Free transfer. Pookie or Dennis out. Thanks and much love. Dennis out. Oh, mind you, fucking Everton Wednesday. No, I'd leave Pookie in, Dennis out. Thomas Hall says, hi, James. Thoughts on Sterling and Mount to KDB and Kulusevski for a hit, or Sterling to Mahrez for free? Appreciate all your content, mate. And Sterling to Mahrez just risking one player who could play once for another player who could play once. I think Sterling starts tomorrow. I'm not sure I'd move it. Horde of Face says, who to sell, Mount or Coutinho? Tough. I guess that comes down to what you expect in minutes from Mount. I think if you're expecting 120 plus from Mount, it's probably sell Coutinho. If not, it's sell Mount. Toby, and I think you'll probably get about 119, just to make that clear for you. Toby Evinson says, hi, James. Good luck for the week. Is it worth taking out Roberts, who doubles next week, for Tavares for this week's bench boost? Yes, it would be, mate. Luke Galway says, Kane, Breuer, Thomas for Nketiah, Jesus, Cancelo for a -8. Yeah. Dan says, finish work 7 a.m, not been bed, need to be awake for your wisdom, James. I'm thinking KDB or Cancelo. Is that for the captaincy, mate? Bottom right hand corner of the screen. Stevie J10, hi James, thanks for the great content. Injury to Jacob Ramsey causing me issues on bench boost. Would you do Ramsey, Son and Kane, Pookie -4? Yes, I think I would, but preference would be Nketiah if you don't have. Jonathan Brown says, any reasons for not bench boosting in 37 instead as better fixtures for Aston Villa? Yeah, because then the Aston Villa players would go in my first 11, and then my bench boost would probably be Nketiah away to Newcastle, Saka away to Newcastle, Foster with a single fixture, plus one rotational risk from Liverpool, Manchester City. So for me, yes, it still works better now. Next week, the Villa players wouldn't be on the bench, would they? They'd be part of my strongest 11. Jonathan Brown, that's what we've done. Zaris says, I will miss your podcast, mate. We will wait for you in Greece this summer for Uzo, Savlaki and FPL tips. You can shove the Uzo up your fucking arse, mate. I ain't drinking that shit. Expenses in the house. Greetings from Greece. Zaris, weather's getting better here, mate. I'm sure it's even better where you are. Enjoy, mate. George says, hi, James. I'm on bench boost and only... That's brilliant. And only... only question for me is Ben White, and if he plays versus Leeds, do I use a free transfer to move him out for, say, Ben Davis or Tavares, or do I roll? Cheers. I'd be very tempted to move that to Tavares. As you're on bench boost. If you're not, I'd definitely leave it. I'd be very tempted to move it. As I said, my instinct is that White will play, but little more than an instinct. Bobby96 says, hi James, mate. Hope you're good. Grim, but start one out of Tarkovsky, Breuer and Dallo. Tarkovsky. But I'd take a fucking hit. Razek says, hey, I'd back your team in home North London derby, mate. We know the history. A draw is basically an Arsenal win. The way it will be. If the results go the way we expect over the next 28 hours or so, then yes, a draw will certainly be good enough for Arsenal. Yes. Naeem Stevens says, afternoon, James. On bench boost, Breuer, Coutinho and White, Tapuki, Gordon, Laporte, -8. I'm going to say yes. I don't think it's borderline, though. I mean, if White plays, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Again, and Ketcher, if you haven't got, it's such an obvious solution there. But I'd assume you've got, mate. Andrew Baker says, start one, Decky, Nacho or Coutinho. Iheanacho. Because I think in one game, he's more likely to do the business, actually. But there's a risk he doesn't even start either. You could easily play Daka tomorrow and Iheanacho on Wednesday, for example. But yeah, I'd go Iheanacho, I think. Florentin P says, hi James, if I roll my transfer this week and play free hit next week, I'll have 2 free transfers in Gameweek 38. Sorry, Florentin, you won't. Whenever you use a chip, you will only have 1 free transfer afterwards. So you may as well use a transfer now. Stian Bosdale says, I've gone Iheanacho over Richarlison. Bless you and your family and have a wonderful weekend, James. Right back at you, Stian. Good luck, mate. Bart Spillers says, hi James, currently have 40 points advantage over rivals. I have Kane, rivals have Son. Go for Son to protect or KDB for upside. Is Kane, Havertz, Bruno, Gomes to Son, Morris and Ketcher from -8 worth to -8 or not? So you're looking to protect. You've got a really healthy lead. The -8 could fire against you. I'd stick it out, mate. If your priority is holding on to your lead, I'd be minimising hits and stuff like that, mate, and I'd just sit where you are. Dan says, sorry I said the question before stream started. You still doing the Birmingham-based North vs South kickabout? I'm just around the corner. Yes, come along, mate. Make sure you buy a ticket. They're on sale for only £5. That'll be on the Saturday afternoon. I want to say it's the 28th of May. It's the last Saturday of May anyway. In Birmingham, have a look for North v South on Twitter. Come along. Yes, I'll be attempting to kick ball. We're going to have a great day and then go and watch the Champions League final together afterwards. Bestos says, hi James, hope you're well. Defender under 4.9 million options are Justin Chambers, Tavares, Sessegnon. Who would you go with or move Laporte out for Aki? And Alonso -4. Move Laporte out for Aki and that? I can't be having that. Tavares, mate. Gareth Payton, I have to bench one of Kulusevski, Rudiger and Watkins. What would you do? Yikes. Tough. I mean, again, instinct is Rudiger doesn't play at Leeds, but again, he's the most likely defender to play twice. I'd be loath to bench that. Or Kulusevski probably. That's really tough. Kyle says sell Mateta. 100% if you're free hitting in 37. If not, maybe take a rain check. If you're bench boosting, yes. Prabesh says on a free hit, Van Dijk or Robertson, Diaz or Mahrez. Van Dijk over Robertson. Mahrez. John Harris says, hi James, -8 to bring in Mahrez, Richarlison and Holgate for Doherty, Barnes and Werner out. Thanks. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. Again, particularly if you're not free hitting in 37. Tushar says, should I take a hit to transfer out Gelhardt to get a forward of up to 7.2 million? I'm on bench boost and which player if it's a yes? Yes, and I'd go up to Nketiah. Is Richarlison... Again, if you're not free hitting 37, does that make Richarlison affordable? I can't remember what bloody price he is. If Richarlison's affordable, get him. Stefan B says, afternoon, Kane to Nketiah and Martinelli. That's really bugging me now. I don't know what price he is. I'm going to need to check. Stefan B says, afternoon, Kane to Nketiah and Martinelli to KDB from -4. I will free hit 37. What do you think? Yes, I'm okay with that, particularly if the armband is obviously going on KDB. We are 25 minutes to deadline, guys. Make sure you're getting your teams locked in. Richarlison, what? 7.5. Sorry, you're buying and catcher. I genuinely couldn't remember that rules Watkins out as well. 7.4, I think I want to say. Just going to have a check, see if we've got any potential information on team news or anything like that. No, not anything interesting or desirable information-wise at the moment. No, I'm not overly expecting anything as well, but you never know your luck. Be right near deadline if it is, but I think traffic will be quite heavy close to deadline today because it's later, so be careful. Valin says Tavares or Holgate for a bench boost defender, 4.3 max funds. Tavares. Andy Max says, hi James, I need to pick one of Mahrez, Foden, Diaz, Jota. Who would you go for, mate? Right now, Jota. Burger Hook says, what percentage would you put on Salah outscoring KDB? Do you think KDB starts twice? Yes, I think he starts twice. What percentage would I put on Salah outscoring KDB? Well, it's likely, isn't it? It's the best player in the league. Reality, certainly in terms of offensive stuff. So, I mean, percentage, I don't know, 60-70%. I don't really know how to answer that question. Vivek Gore says, would you take a hit to get KDB for Son? No, I'd leave that be. Raymond says, rumour on Twitter, Gator is benched, so replace him with Schmeichel for a -4. Yes, you should. Yo says, cheer James. First of all, I'm on free hit. Want to choose between Mane, Gordon, Casper or Jota, Diaz, Madders, Mendy. How many are you choosing? There's lots going on here, mate. So, are we saying, is it two different options? Mane, Gordon and Schmeichel or Jota, Maddison and Mendy? I don't think Mane starts, but I don't think you need to go that high. Just go Jota, Gordon, Casper and hold the money. I think that's like spending it for the sake of spending it. Do you not get like Salah or KDB or Son instead? Personally, KDB still brilliant differential. S Dix says, interesting name. Hi, would you prefer who would you prefer 36 and 38, Mount or Foden? Thanks. Arguably Mount with that last fixture against Watford. Stuart James Johnson says, hi James, thoughts on Mendy and Foster to Schmeichel and Pickford for a -4. Bench boost in play, free hit either 37 or 38. Undecided, cheers. Well, you need to be sort of making that decision now in terms of this is going to affect your transfer. Thoughts on Mendy and Foster to Schmeichel and Pickford -4. We don't need both. You don't need both. You don't need to be doing it. The likelihood is Mendy probably plays twice. I do think there's a chance Kepa plays Wednesday, but I wouldn't piss about with it. I'd arguably just leave it. See, if you're going to free hit 37, you'd have Mendy final day at home to Watford, and you can get Pickford in on free hit. I'd arguably wouldn't bother. Richard Marshall says Havertz to Maddison, then Dewsbury Hall to Kulusevski. Nah, not overly clear. I wouldn't be expecting Maddison to play twice. If it facilitates the Kulusevski, yes, maybe. I just think he's swapping for swapping, really. You overly expecting Kulusevski to return tonight at Liverpool? Not really. Pratula says Salah and Gordon or KDB and Maddison till the end of the season. Salah, Gordon. Hadi Diallo took a -12 bench boost. Doherty, De Gea, Tony, Weghorst out for Schmeichel, Diaz and Ketchup, Richarlison captain. Sonaldo or TAA. Captaincy's bottom right hand corner of the screen. Preference would be with Son for the two. Avis says, hi James, Coutinho and Gelhardt to Richarlison and Gordon or Nketiah and any good mid. Well, the fact that you don't know which mid you want to identify, the answer is going to be Richarlison and Gordon, mate. Nick Burke says, hey James, thanks for yours and Sudge's elite content, mate. It's greatly appreciated. Have already taken a -4 this week. Should I take another -4 to take out White? Thinking Tavares holding. Definitely not if you're not bench boosting. And arguably not anyway. As I've said several times, I think White will probably play. Dan Thompson says, Pookie or Dennis, have a look at page 1 of the benching dilemma. Might even be on your screen right now. Player with a tick is the preference. Harry says, free hit 37, Foden, Alonso, and 4.5 million forward for Kulusevski, Justin and Weghorst, -8. or Foden and Ketcher for Kulusevski and Weghorst? These questions are so long. And Weghorst -4. Oh, and you've gone capital letters as well. Sorry, I'm skipping the question. But I wish you luck, Harry. Nicky Kassam says, Robbo to VVD for free. I've decided not to do it. Ben Fowler says, Foden to Mahrez 2 sideways. Probably. Ren says, hi James, don't have Salah, but really want to get him back now. Was planning to have De Bruyne captain, but his substitution really put me off now. Looking to Robertson, Havertz and Wood to Diaz, Salah, someone. Listen, mate, if you're put off by the substitution, you really, if that's what's changed your opinion, you really shouldn't be. You really shouldn't be. Shadrach Maliwa says, hey James, is James to Diaz Laporte from -4 on bench boost? Nah, I'd leave it be. S. Dick says, free hit 37, wildcard 36, 30. Which trio do you prefer? A. Robertson, Mount, KDB. B. Son, Mount, Jesus. C. KDB, Son, and Sessegnon. Thanks, love the stream. He actually quite liked the last one, KDB, Son, Sessegnon, actually. And yeah, by the way, guys, how many likes we got on this stream? Oh, guys. You got to hit the fun button for me. Come on. Ketan Chopra says, would you use Sterling captain and Havertz to KDB captain and Saka for a hit? Yeah, I probably would. Hadi Diallo says, captain Son or TAA? It's on the screen, mate. Isham Bat, Son to KDB and Robertson to Laporte from -4. No, not for me. Sedzia says, hi James, real life football, you, i.e. Spurs, can get one player from Arsenal for free. Who do you go for? This is a good question because Saka's the obvious answer, but it's not the biggest requirement. I will say close between Ben White and Tierney. I'd take Tierney for what we need at the moment, actually. Yeah, Kieran Tierney. Hornet should I swap a flag Ben White to Rudiger from -4? Rudiger probably more likely to play both games than James or Alonso. It's going to be a no from me, mate. Nata Cook Tuk Gabunia, great name. Sorry, I probably mispronounced it. Hello, please choose one to bench. Gabriel and Ketcher, Gordon, James, Chelsea. Gordon. S says, do you prefer KDB or Son for 36 and 38? Good luck tonight. For both, probably slight preference with Sonny. Joseph Vargas says, will free hit 37, Ramsey and Watkins to Saka and Nketiah, bench Kulusevski or Kulusevski to Odegaard, no bench. Now, I wouldn't bother moving Kulusevski to Odegaard, I don't think. Otherwise, sounds fine going Saka and Nketiah, yeah. Bogdan says, hello James, Gordon and Van Dijk or Rafinha Matip? Gordon Van Dijk for me. As Man U says, Madison, Talisman, Barnes or Lookman. Can I say none of them? Lookman because he's cheapest. Lee Thompson says, hi James, Bria to Pookie is my free transfer, but should I go White to Diaz and Mount to Decky from -8? I'm on bench boost. No, I'm not keen. I'm really not keen. The more I think about it, I'm moving these Chelsea players, honestly. Luke Fuller says, hi James, thoughts on Havertz and Mount to Son and Odegaard? This one's a little better because you're firing in the premium of Son, so I'm going to say yes. Druv Garodia says, remove Mateta for an extra hit for bench boost. He might be benched already on a -8. Forget what's gone. The answer is yes. Toby Evanson says, hi James, given your comment on possible -12 to move Mateta on, would you go Robertson to VVD to free up the cash to get Mateta up to a decent replacement? Arguably, yes, I would, mate. Emma Jones says, hi James, would you play Cash or Dewsbury Hall this week? Cash, on the principle that he's definitely going to start twice. And also, think about it, there's a general consensus Robertson might get rested this week, so Shimikas potentially on Cash's side. I'll play Cash. Abdallah says, hi James, Bria to Nketiah or Cody to Cash -8 bench boost. To be honest, there's the obvious answer is Nketiah. Sorry, that wasn't what I was thinking about. I was debating if Cody to Cash was worth it. And I'm probably going to say no, but Nketiah, yeah, definitely. Abim Manu says, Dubravka to Schmeichel worth a hit. Foster's mother keeper. I assume you're not bench boosting. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. Better for 37 as well if you're not free hitting. Shadrach says, hi James, on bench boost this week. Want to take a hit to bring in Diaz Laporte for James. Got Cancelo already. I mean, the two guys you're getting in have got less explosiveness than Reece James and neither are guaranteed start twice. I wouldn't bother, mate. Natakirk, I've done that question, mate. Once is enough. I don't want to see it again. Thank you. Good luck. Matthias says, hi James, would you get Richarlison and Maddison for João Pedro and Mount for a hit? I guess you need to downgrade Mount here to make that happen, do you? Yeah, fuck it. Saka obviously preferred if you don't have. Brandon Madrano, do you think Arsenal switch to a back three on Thursday? If so, would Saka play wing back? No, I don't think he would. I think there's a chance in that case that maybe Martinelli would be the one to miss out, and I think they would maybe play Odegaard in a wider position to kind of perhaps open up the left side for Tavares to push on. Yes, they could. Yes, they could potentially do that. I'm very aware that's a possibility. SK says, hi James, how do you think FPL will play out with the change to 5 subs next season? X-Mins will be lower with the top 5 teams utilising their wider pool of players. Yeah, but in the case of Guardiola, sometimes doesn't bother with subs anyway. So it means our more attacking players are likely to play slightly less minutes. But it doesn't mean, like, take an example like Harry Kane. He's still going to play 90 minutes most weeks, right? So the top boys, I don't think it make a lot of difference. Michael Bianchi, hi James, just tuned in, so you probably already covered this. But is it worth taking a -4 to lose James for Laporte? I've already done a -8 free hit next week, cheers. You'll know the answer by now, Michael. It's going to be a no. Yash Patel says, is Sarter Schmeichel for a -4 worth it? Thanks. I think because of the 2 Leicester fixtures, I'm going to say yes. But do know, if Wolves do keep a clean sheet this week, Sarr will haul. There's every chance with Sarr, like Wolves could lose, say, 2-0 twice, and Sarr could still get you 5-6 points or so. And that makes me think it's probably a no. Joe Pickerel says, hi mate, praying you can... But if you're not free hitting 37, I would still do it. Joe Pickerel says, hi mate, praying you can do us a favour tomorrow. Would do Sarter Schmeichel for -4. Just exactly covered on the previous question. Good luck, Joe. Jack Tasker says, hey, best 4.3 million defender to bring in for Taylor for -4. Even if you advise keeping Taylor, give me a name. Tavares. Ashish Shakula says, is it reasonable to take -12 for bench boost or use my free hit? Thanks, James. It depends. Where are the hits for? So I discussed this a lot on my Ask James stream yesterday about you can take a -12, but where are the hits for? So there was an example we used where someone was taking a -8, but effectively it was only -4 for their 4 weakest players, and the other -4 was to improve the 11 in their team. So is the -12 factually for your 4 weakest players? The answer is no. If you're taking a -4 to improve the bench and the -8 is to improve the team, yes, definitely do it. Burger Hook says, thanks James, best midfielder this week, 7.6 million value, appreciate your great work. Saka, sorry, have you got him? Sahil, I know, thanks. Nikki Krasam, pissing myself at your response to the Greek guy. Zaris is cool, I love Zaris. Sahil says, White and Mateta to Nketiah Holgate, is it worth another -8? It probably is, mate, with the Mateta potential news. Jeremy Lawless, I think it's criminal how low you have TAA on your captaincy picks. Recently rested, so almost certain to play twice, can haul in any game. It's absolutely true. Go and are you captaining them, Jeremy? Let me know. Put it in the chat. When we do the Q&A bit at the end, so in 10 minutes, pop it in the chat for me, please, mate. Let me know if you're captaining him. Joe Singh says, hi, James, Maddison or Zaha? Look, if you're free hitting 37, it would still be Maddison. If you're not, genuinely, the answer to the question is Wilfred Zaha. Geolux Lucis, hi, James, no free hit 37. Do you think it's worth Werner Richarlison now for a -4 to free funds for Rafinha to Coutinho in 37? Or just wait for 37 for better info, injury news. I think better info maybe might be important here. Neil Kager says, hi, and thanks, James, as always. Good luck this game with you too, buddy. Thanks for the support. Jack C says, Watkins or Richarlison? Richarlison. Kloppite says, sorry if you've already answered this question, but Foden or Mahrez for Coutinho? I'm kind of probably slightly in camp Mahrez now, possibly. About 10 minutes to deadline. Just going to have a run through, check if we've got anything interesting. The answer's probably no. I'm just scanning a few things for you. It's strongly looking like no decent information. No. Chim says, is Werner to Richarlison worth the -4 when free hit 37? Kind of just covered this. I'm going to say no. On a bench boost with Pookie and Ketchers, my other attackers, that's fine. Hamza says, is it worth a -4 to replace Gelhart and for who? I already have Nketiah and Richarlison bench boost activated. But Hamza, I've got no idea how much money you've got in the bank, mate. So I'll just straight up go and say Harry Kane. Obviously not. I presume you definitely can't do that. Watkins, can you get there? Pookie, Dennis. Then you're coming down that kind of order. Ryan Kuto says, the benching dilemma screen will help your decision with that. Ryan Kuto says, would you transfer Robertson and Mateta to Cash and Richarlison on bench boost? No free hit left. I'm going to presume you can't get Mateta to Dennis Pookie. I would rather you just did that, I think. Robertson could outscore Cash with one game. Best 4.3 million defender, 36-38 says S. How many times do you want me to say Tavares? I think. Andrew Baker, thanks you, James. Big cheers from Niagara Falls. I've been, mate. What a place. Good luck to you, Andrew. Alejandro Perez, who to triple captain out of KDB, Son or Salah? What do you think I'm going to say, Alejandro? What do you think I'm going to say? S also says, is Sessegnon a lock? No, because he's fucking injury prone. Will he start the remaining games if he doesn't get injured? Yes, probably. Hamza, I've covered your question already. Rowan says, triple captain. You use capital letters, and I've answered it for someone else, even though I didn't answer it. It's on the screen. Sure, if you're using triple captaincy, right? I mean, chances are you're going Mo, aren't you? Let's be real about this. Unless you're chasing. Do you want to chase? Then go KDB, Son, Cancelo, in that preference order. Sash says Dewsbury Hall, Havertz and Mateta to Saka. What is that? Mateta to Saka and Ketchert and Gordon -4 and bench boost 36. Yeah, crack on, get on with it. I'm getting bored now. Just say the 7117 says hi James, bench Dennis or Dewsbury Hall. Thanks, Dewsbury Hall. Nico says Ramsey only has 25% chance of playing. Yeah, according to the Gospel FPL website. I already have Gordon and one free transfer left with 4.9 million to spend. Excuse me. Should I take a hit? Keep Ramsey for 2 transfer in 37. Bloody hell, indigestion. Or do another cheap midfielder. I'm on bench boost. Yeah, take a hit, mate. Jay Singh, love your channel on a bench boost. White out for Mikolenko for the rest of the season. I'm not loving that at all. Rob Swarbrick says, is it hot where you are? It's red as in Blackpool. Non-FPL question. Yeah, warming up, mate. H. Abu Own is my favourite comment of the stream, who just says, hi. Sam Jones says, thoughts on Werner and Ramsey and Cody to Richarlison, Kulusevski and Tavares. Yeah, love it. Adish, I only half read it though, in fairness. No, it's cool. Genuinely, it's really cool. Adish Shree says, Gray, Gordon, Kulusevski, Rafinha or Sarr. For what? What, to buy one? Kulusevski. Pavan R says, Dean, Matip, KDB or Alonso, TAA, Mahrez. Just don't go for Luca Dean. Aziz Adil says Madison or Rafinha. I think this is H. Abu's follow-up question. Edison and Son to Schmeichel and De Bruyne captain for a -4 and bench boost 36, free hit 37. 45 points behind in my mini league, and I'm considering KDB for captain instead of Salah. Worth the risk. You could just captain Sonny, couldn't you, if you want to chase? Edison to Schmeichel as part of a hit it just doesn't feel right, I'm afraid. Richard Marshall says Robertson to Diaz, Havertz to Diaz, Keenan Dewsbury Hall to Diaz. No, it's not. It's Kulusevski for a -4. I'm gonna say yes, but I've covered several times over. I've covered the risk on selling these likes of Robertson, James, Havertz and stuff like that. Paul H says, hi James, Diaz or Jota in for Mount for -4. I'm going to say Jota. Linos says, bench Cash or Coutinho. Thanks. Probably both. Cash. FPL Rohit says, Triple City defence too big a risk. Good luck. Nah, don't mind it, mate. Sean Lapthorne says, hi James, thanks for the content. Would you hit out Robbo for TAA? Doubt he will play twice is the reason. Is it worth it? Yes, if you think TAA hauls at Villa and you don't think Robertson starts. Otherwise, no. Sam Thomas says, does Edward Mendy play twice this game week in your opinion? No. Jeremy Lawler says, I'm captain TAA, by the way, only because I don't own Salah or Kevin De Bruyne. Those two would be my 1 and 2 preferences, same as you. But TAA is above all those other blokes for me. Those other blokes. Above Cancelo. I think City keep 2 clean sheets this week, and I'm not convinced that Liverpool keep 1. And that's the reason why. That's the reason why. Listen, you'll all know what I think about TAA. Magnificent, right? And to be honest, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I was originally of the thinking of even considering captain Trent myself this weekend. But part of the reason why Trent's so low, and this is my honest thinking behind this, is his ownership's massive, right? It's going to be near 100% anyway. So if you're looking to go safe, you're probably captain Mo Salah. Whereas if you're not, you're probably going with more of a differential, and therefore you ignore Trent. And so that's actually part of the thinking in terms of why he's so low down. Do I genuinely believe Jota's a better captaincy option than Trent this week? I mean, no. If I had that choice, I'd go Trent. But I think people looking for something differential at this stage, and Trent is not it. So that's why. Because again, I think if you're going with a template, you're going with Mo, aren't you? I hope that helps anyway. But yeah, that's a very fair point, Jeremy. Adishri says, Gray, Gordon or Kulusevski for Ramsey in free hit. Gray, Gordon or in 37. We'll come back to that later. Wazif Ibrahim says, what do you think about captain Cancelo? Great. Giblumman Stock says, thanks James, should I start Dennis or Tavares? I'd go Tavares. Jeremy Lauder says, my last 6 captain picks have netted me 200 points, by the way. Check out the Planet FPL League rankings for April. Yours truly is number 1. Smashing it, Jeremy. Good man. Sriana, to be still not captain Trent, are you? Sriana says, is Iheanacho a decent punt? X minutes over the next 2 game weeks? No, I don't think so. I honestly could play twice, like no difference to anybody normal, like someone Tony. There you go, like Tony. Matt Woolley says bench Alonso or Maddison will be first bench. I wouldn't bench Alonso. Max Black says, hi James, Ericsson or Gordon? Brentford at home against a leaky Southampton. Ericsson good form. Gordon with a double. Yes, Gordon, mate. Owen Walsh, unreal. Borough 2 down. Wow. Joe Singh says, get your teams in. Cheers, James. Hee hee. Hee hee. About 2 minutes to deadline, guys. Smashing it. Abdu says, Mane and Morris or De Bruyne and Jota. Huge dilemma. De Bruyne and Jota for me. Adishri says, Gray, Gordon or Kulusevski this week. Free hit and 37. This week, Gray, Gordon or Kulusevski this week. Kulusevski, mate. And I deserve a like for this stream for getting through all the questions. Come on, hit the like and sub button. Come on, quick questions. 2 minutes to the deadline, guys. Come on, hit me. Slacking, a lot of ya. Although most of the questions are really, really fucking repetitive. But I understand why. It's natural in a double game week. People are going to be focusing towards the same things. Personal Pet Care says, why is everyone avoiding Leicester? They have 2 great fixtures. Personal Pet Cat, put in the chat which Leicester players you think will play twice. Jeremy Lawler says, what is happening? Max Black says, thanks. You're welcome. My team's still the same. That's good. Adishri says, like and subscribe. Thanks. Boom. I like you too, mate. Jeremy says, I bought Danny Ings. Oh, that's differential. FPL Finding Glory, nice stream. Thanks, mate. You're very welcome. Jeremy Lawler says, anyone else? Question. Anyone else for what, mate? S is saying Sessignon over Tavares. If you prefer, fine. Jay Barker, would you sell White or Davis to Diaz? Yeah. Davis will play twice, but it's not great double, is it? Jack Tasker says, not all important, but prediction for Leicester's back 4. What if it's a back 3? And that is my prediction for tomorrow's back 3. My honest prediction for the Leicester team tomorrow is the same team that played against Tottenham last Sunday. Exactly the same. So back 3. And that could be wildly wrong. Steve says, just want to say thanks for all your help and entertainment this year. You're very welcome, mate. Thank you. Burger Hook, Matip or Tavares? Matip. Mufasa says, love your work, mate. Panic setting in just in time for my bench boost. S says, commentary to get to the playoffs next year. Yeah, maybe, mate. Sam Jones says, Werner, Cody, Sanchez to Richarlison, Reece James and Gunn. I feel like I want a Gunn reading that, mate. But I presume this is non-bench boost, so yeah, why are you buying Reece James now? It's a hold. It's probably a non-buy. Jose Vargas, I've had this question for a while. Who's Nico? Also, is Manchild gone? Manchild's kind of around, but yes, kind of gone, doing other things. Nico's my new video editor. And he is a superstar. Love him. George Nibbs says, I've done my transfers like Nacho punt this week for the risk takers. James Owen said, nailed it today, James. Thank you, mate. Nick says, banging stream as always. James, got me through my last bit of work. Thank you and best of luck for the weekend. If you haven't noticed, the deadline's gone. Prabash says, which FPL player scored most for you this season? Probably Mo Salah, mate. Ethan Williams, have you heard Louis Dunford music? I know you're a Spurs man, but what are your thoughts on his song, the Angel? Never heard of him, mate. Sorry. Ian Marsh says, are you coming to Carrow Road on the last day of the season? Thoughts on it from a non-Norwich fan? Yes, I have applied for a ticket and I don't see any reason why I won't get one. So yes, I will be at Carrow Road final day, which means, guys, unfortunately, there will be no Game Week 38 deadline stream. I will probably do something for you the day before on the Saturday. But yeah, 37 deadline streams this year. There won't be a 38th, I'm afraid to say. Assuming I get a ticket. There's no reason why I won't. Right, guys. That's it. If you've got any non-FPL questions, throw them in the chat now. I'm actually happy to spend a bit longer than normal on this for you. So please, no more FPL shit. I can't be bothered with it. That's it. It's done. If you came just for the FPL, smash a like, hit the subscribe button on your way out. Let's throw in some non-FPL questions, guys. Happy to cover them for quite a bit of time if you wish. Right. Content next week. Main podcast Monday, reviewing all the weekend action. Main podcast Friday, reviewing all the midweek football, which is very dangerous for me as it's the morning after the North London derby. Tuesday's podcast will be this week. Clash of the Correspondents, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace, with Lee Jackson and Mctavius ahead of the double game week for both Villa and Palace in 37. Wednesday, I've got Neil Curra, FPL Canal, standing in for Suj on this week's Sky Fantasy Football podcast. Neil is currently 7th overall and with a chance, realistically, of still winning the whole gig. And on Thursday, Neil Grover, our Bournemouth correspondent at AFCBNG on Twitter, will be joining me for a bit of a special on Bournemouth following their promotion on Tuesday night. The Patreon content, podcast-wise, this week will be Q&A Monday. Tuesday, I'm doing a podcast with one of our patrons, Sam O'Sullivan, who has been to more games this season than anyone I know. The number of games he's attended in the last year is staggering, makes me look like a fair weather supporter. Wednesday, I'm going to do my Ask James stream exclusively for patrons. And by the way, that will be available to patrons on all tier levels. So that includes basic tier patrons as well. You can access basic tier on our Patreon network from £3 a month. Thursday will be Tottenham. And Friday will be our Game Week 37 differential show. The preview for the Game Week 37 Game Week. If you'd love to support our content, we'd love to have your support on Patreon. www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. We will be taking a break in June, but nobody will be charged in June. Come and support us for the rest of this season. If you enjoyed the content me and Suj have provided this year, the support will go a long way to helping us improve our content, and the support will very much be appreciated. There is no come into our Patreon community and become a better FPL manager. I tell you what, you will enjoy the community though. That's the one thing I can guarantee you. Our Slack community is absolutely brilliant. We've got about 550 members in there at the moment and growing. Advanced tier content, there will be video content for the advanced tier patrons throughout the week as well. Right, let's get into the questions, see if we've got anything non-FPL. QG123, sorry, says, not sure if you've given your thoughts elsewhere, but do you think Conte leaves if you don't finish top 4? My instinct is no, actually. And my instinct is no, is because I'm not sure anyone else wants him. Reality. Look, here's the deal with Antonio Conte. if suddenly Pep Guardiola walked out of Man City and Man City offered Conte the job, he's going to go. If Klopp walked out of Liverpool and Liverpool offered him the job, he's going to go. If some reason Eric Ten Hag didn't walk into Manchester United and Manchester United offered him the job, he's going to go. If Tuchel left Chelsea and Chelsea offered... maybe not that one. Maybe not that one. If PSG offer him the job, he's going to go. If a big Italian team offers him the job, he's going to go. If Real Madrid or Barcelona offer him a job, he's going to go. Reality. He'll just piss off and he'll go. Absolutely. Maybe even if he got a really attractive national team job in terms of a team he thought could win the World Cup, maybe he would even go. But I'm not sure there's anyone out there who actually is going to at the moment. Conte to PSG just doesn't make sense to me, in all honesty. Conte's teams in Europe has been a big problem, and PSG's only goal in life is to win the Champions League. Is Conte going to put up with the likes of Messi and Neymar and stuff? I don't know, to be honest. I don't see that as right, Conte at PSG. I think PSG are more likely to go for Zidane, I would have thought. So I think he'll end up staying anyway and giving it another shout. And then I think probably at the end of next season, he'd probably end up going no matter what, actually. I think quite possibly. Unless he got to the end of the season and again there were no offers and then he genuinely thought that he could win the league the following year, so 23-24. Then I'd think look, every Tottenham fan knows that when Conte turned up, it was not a long-term gig. It was do the best you can as quick as you can. So I don't think there's going to be too many tears shed because Tottenham fans should be prepared for him to walk out like any day. Like, I mean, if I woke up in the morning and he was gone, I'd be shocked because there's like 3 games left of the season. But as soon as the season's finished, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he handed in his resignation, like doing his post-match interview after the Norwich game, right? Like, honestly. So as soon as the season's finished, I'd kind of be prepping to think he could go any day. And then if he's still there come the start of pre-season training in July, then he's probably staying. And then once the season starts, if a big job comes up, I think he could walk out at any point if people are prepared to pay the compensation, which isn't going to be big because his contract's only till next summer anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. I would obviously want him to stay. I want him to stay, absolutely, definitely. But I also know it's not a long-term thing with Conte. If I said to you, Antonio Conte is still going to be Tottenham manager in 2 years from now, let's say he was going to start at Tottenham 24-25 season, you'd be staggered, wouldn't you? Like, no one thinks that's going to happen. Razik says, if you had to move outside of the UK, where would you go? Me, Spain. Sun, sea, sand, bars. Good culture. New Camp and Bernabeu accessible. Yeah, I'd Spain, mate. Barcelona, I think. You've got everything in Barcelona, haven't you? Efan says, thoughts on the new Chelsea owners? I don't know enough about is the Bolly. I don't even know if that's correct pronoun. Bowley. It's that consortium that's got the gig, isn't it? I don't know enough about them and need to do the research and the honesty, Ethan. But I think it doesn't sound like bad news for Chelsea. It seems like it's going to be fine and work out for them. Lee Jackson says, trying to win the console on Sky 2. Don't own Salah. Do I buy him for captaincy today or wait till Tuesday and captain James Ronaldo today? Right, I'll tell you what, Reece James could be a great differential captain today, mate. Don't think many will do that. The thing is, if you do the same things as everyone else, Lee, you're not winning it. I'd arguably leave it. Lamici says, predictions for the FA Cup and Champions League final. Liverpool to win both. Genuinely. I think the FA Cup final could be quite tight and tense. Wouldn't surprise me if it's sort of like 1-0 Liverpool. I think the Champions League final might be the complete opposite and it might be like 4-2 or something. I wouldn't rule Chelsea out. I wouldn't rule Madrid out. But at the moment, I would expect Liverpool to win both. Dylan Ferner Rose says, rank the Premier League clubs along the lines of the most attractive prospect for an incoming manager. That's really interesting. That's really, really, really interesting. I mean, I wouldn't know where to rank Chelsea at the moment. I think you probably would. I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't be too dissimilar to the league table. I think there are certain ones where, like, you'd arguably have Everton bottom because of the financial situation. It's possibly similar with Burnley. Ironically, Leeds would maybe be a better job to take if that was to come up for whatever reason. It wouldn't look too dissimilar to the league table. I don't think Wolves would be a particularly good one to take on at the moment. I think West Ham has got real potential to growth. I think the same is true with Aston Villa particularly as well. I think Leicester's in and around where they are in the league table. I think Brighton will be a tough one to follow Potter. I think arguably, I mean, I was going to say Tottenham and Arsenal be near the top, but they are near the top of the league table anyway. So, I mean, those two, again, the potential progression of the clubs, Tottenham with the stadium and stuff now, is quite exciting. I think Arsenal with the youthful nature of their squad is quite exciting. So, I don't think it looked that different from the actual league table as it stands at the moment. I mean, Watford, he took the Watford, arguably the most attractive job to get is the Watford job. You should get a payoff in 3 months. Toby Evanson says, James, who would you captain out of? Only joking. Great stream as always, mate. You're very welcome, mate. Thank you. FPL Rahit says, thanks, James. How's the prep going on for Gameweek 39? What prep? No, look, I've started playing football again on Thursday nights the last couple of months, and to be honest, the game has inspired me to do it. My fitness is absolutely fucking atrocious. There's no point lying about it. I think everybody should at David Monday and advise him that I should start because I'll protect the back four if I play, and we'll play football. Am I going box to box? No, I can't. But my fitness is definitely better than what it was 2 months ago because until I started playing Thursday nights again, I hadn't run as far as a bus for 2 years since COVID kicked in and stuff. So getting there, a little bit better. I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious of what I'm eating. I can't remember the last time I went out for a drink, but I'm going out for the game tonight, and tomorrow's going to be a hangover. But then that'll probably be. I'll maybe have a couple of beers. I probably will at Norwich last day. But other than that, that'll be it till Gameweek 39 comes around. So look, it's not disastrous. What I've got is will. You should know that from the way I provide content anyway. Like, I don't understand the word no. So I have a complete non-give up mentality to playing football. And that will get me through games better than some who have better fitness but perhaps might not have a stronger mentality. There you go. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It'd be great. Look, it's all for charity and shit. It's for raise money for Street Child United. It's going to be great. The intention, if we can, is to try and film the game and show it a couple of days later on this YouTube channel, which is potentially going to make a complete mockery out of me and Suj. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. And look, the whole everyone involved is going to go and watch the Champions League final afterwards as well. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Then Tian Bao says, hey James, curious to know how you decide which Clash of the Correspondents to do each week, or if it has already been decided before the season starts. Love that question. I'll answer it. So what I try and do with the guys is try and get them on an even amount, right? Because look, it's obvious for the majority of you, you'd have Johnny Pringle come on every week and talk about Man City, right? But what I want to do is obviously give everyone a voice, give everyone a shout. And obviously, when I'm putting on the likes of, let's say, with respect, I don't know, Norwich and Burnley, for example, I want to try and do it at times that's good for them, in terms of there may be some interest in their assets and stuff. I know, for example, like I'm putting Mark on with Ricky to do Norwich-Tottenham for the final game. You're probably not going to go and buy Norwich, but you might still give you something in terms of whether to keep or sell Pookie, for example. And it may even, his opinion may even help you decide whether to buy a Son or a Kane or something like that, right? So it can go both ways, where Mark would be very honest about what he thinks about Norwich as he has been and stuff. What I tend to do is I do the schedule up to as far as I can see it without there being problems. And what I mean by that is, so at the start of the season, I'll generally do the schedule up to around about the end of January. And I'll schedule everyone to come on 2 or 3 times. And there's certain things I will generally try and avoid. So I will try and avoid putting the teams in Europe on the week before they have European fixtures, in case, when I organise it, if Johnny wants to go and travel somewhere, it's going to be a problem recording and stuff. So you'll notice that. So City will probably be on a week in the first half of the season when they haven't got Champions League and stuff. Obviously, the season goes on, that becomes a bit more difficult. Ordinarily, what I do is I do it kind of on a month-by-month basis from there on in and plan it. But this year, with the amount of doubles, I've just been prioritising trying to get the guys on with the doubles. Hence, with sort of Aaron and Sean, Leicester and Everton just gone, and Lee and Mig coming up for Villa Palace this week. I've really tried to prioritise that. But it's going to work out that the majority of the guys have been on. I think all but one, Stephen, who our Watford correspondent, who's unfortunately not been too available for much of the second half of the season. But all the other guys have been on 4 or 5 times as an equal spread, and that's where I would have wanted it to be. So next year, hopefully, it'll be planned more in advance. But the reason I say the end of January, again, you've got that Champions League restarting. You've also got League Cup final potentially, where that can potentially cause blanks and there might be fixtures come forward. So generally up to the end of January, and then towards Christmas time I start trying to go month by month from there. But this year, and mass praise to all the correspondents, I've kind of been working it on almost a week-to-week basis. So the guys regularly haven't had more than sort of 2 weeks notice, and I don't think the guys have barely ever said no. And remember, they do it all for free and stuff, and their contributions are absolutely huge and so valid to everything that we do, and obviously what they bring to you, to the community. I can't thank all of them enough for what they do. Prabesh says, what was the most enjoyable Spurs game you've gone to? He does say apart from the Ajax game. Most enjoyable. That's interesting. When we say most enjoyable, is not necessarily the best or the, it might be something where you've battered someone. And most enjoyable, I said the big games we've won, and I'd say they're not enjoyable at all. And to be honest, the Ajax game kind of falls into that in terms of losing the whole time, right? So how much was I actually enjoying it until the end? I will say, I feel like I want to say where we've won some big games really, really comfortably. The 2 semi-finals with Arsenal, Chelsea at the old White Hart Lane, I guess the respective 5-1s. But I still shit myself in both of them until it was like 3-0 on the night. In fact, even the Chelsea one, I still shit myself, even though they were man short, till 4-0 on the night. Probably them, because then you're beating a rival, it's big game, it's semi-final, you're really enjoying it as it happens then. So I think probably those. But sometimes the more enjoyable ones is when they just play like brilliant football and stuff. I remember a game against Everton in 11-12, and we only won 2-0. It was like not a memorable game, but like the football we played and the control we had, it just was Bale, Modric, Van der Vaart, just taking the fucking piss, mate. Absolutely gorgeous to watch. And I always remember that game. It was the game that really made me think, oh my god, this is a different Tottenham now. We're really playing. So sometimes it's things like that. We just really enjoy what's happening in front of you. Even things like winning at Hull last day of the season 7-1 a few years ago. I mean, it's a laugh, isn't it? It's really enjoyable. I guess the 2 5-1s. Nick Burke says, what are your thoughts on your boys tonight? I reckon you've got a chance to get up. I presume you mean get something. Yes, I think we've got a chance. I mean, I'd said, and we've got the audio somewhere, and it's going to get brought out if it happens. But I said about 3 or 4 weeks ago that I thought City would win the title at West Ham. And obviously, look, if Liverpool were to lose tonight and City win, and then it's 4 points, then if City obviously went 7 points clear next Sunday, then that's it. It would be where they'd win the title. And I added on saying the reason that'll be is because Tottenham will win at Liverpool. Now, I don't honestly think Tottenham are going to win at Liverpool tonight. My prediction's on screen. I've gone 3-2 Liverpool. But I think that also gives you an indication that, yeah, I think there's a feeling, there's a real feeling amongst Tottenham fans that something might happen tonight. And normally we are a pessimistic bunch of bastards. And we do always get beat there. But there is a feeling that, yeah, the weapons that we have and the way we'll set up tonight is possibly to our strength, and obviously the mass pressure on Liverpool obviously have to win. That, yeah, we can damage them a little bit. So, yeah, give us a chance. Look, Liverpool obviously huge favourites. Would expect them to win. It would be a little bit naive to predict different, but yes, we've got a chance. Alan M says Rangers or Frankfurt. Great stream. Well, difficult, and congratulations to our Rangers listeners and viewers. That is an incredible achievement to get to the final. I can't give you any real information on Frankfurt, and I can't give you great information on Rangers either, to be honest, but I would say Rangers have got a really, really good chance. Absolutely, one-off game. It's not against a superpower. They're, ninth or so in Germany. Admittedly, look, they've beat West Ham, they've beat Barcelona, they've had a good run to get to the final. I would not discount Rangers at all, but I also can't give you anything solid to tell you enough about Frankfurt. I didn't watch either game against West Ham, but they're in with a shout, and I wish them well. Jose Vargas says, what type of shot requires the most technique, and what player comes to mind? Wow, I guess volleys is the first one that comes to mind, although I was also thinking about Harry Kane's weird technique where he rolls his left ankle when he strikes through the ball on his right foot. It's madness. Volleys. And the player that comes to mind is Mark Hughes. Was an incredible volleyer of the ball, and some of the younger guys might not remember him as a player at all, but it was like trademark Mark Hughes as a kid. There's always watch Mark Hughes when he volleys the ball. Technique, perfect. So I think volleys, because it's the technique, it's the judgment, it's you can't look at your feet in any way, really. You're having to trust a lot of instinctual stuff, and it's easy to kind of get underneath or come over the top. So I think volleying is a very unique technique that's not obviously easy, and Mark Hughes was probably the best at it. I think modern player great at volleying. Torres was good at his peak at Liverpool. Was a good volleyer. Berbatov, Spurs. Nice question. Pavan asks, which team are you predicting that gets promoted? I still think Forest. I see they've rested the whole team today. In fact, let's have a little Scooby, because we're about 8 minutes to deadline, so I'll hang around, guys, for the team news to run through them for you. Let's have a look at what's happening in the Championship at the moment. I see Celtic have beaten Hearts 4-1 in Scotland. Championship. So Middlesbrough 3-1 down at Preston. That's a relevant one for the playoffs, isn't it? Bournemouth Millwall 0-0. Sheffield United beating Fulham 4-0. Wow. So that's going to put Sheffield United into the playoffs. Luton will stay in. That's the way it's going to stay. So it looks like it will be Luton against Huddersfield and Sheffield United against Forest. And I'd say that's quite open. I think Huddersfield have gone amiss. They've got Cochrane, the coach, worked under Bielsa at Leeds, so they're quite attractive to watch now. Quite equal. I don't think Cooper is a very good manager. So a slight preference with Forest. It's probably who I'd secretly maybe like to come up. I'd love Huddersfield or Sheffield United to come back for Mark or for Tomo as well. And Luton would be an incredible story if they come up. Lee Jackson says, who do you think will come out in the playoffs? Father-in-law is a Forest fan, so I have no choice. I'm going to guess, Lee, you typed that at the exact same time as Pavan, mate. Neil Kager says, well, most and best content anywhere. Thank you, mate. Rhinos Lees, how are you getting to Norwich? Because I went years ago and not sure I've got back yet. A bit more difficult from up north. It's relatively straightforward for us. Go to Stratford, actually. And about an hour and 3/4 on a train. It would take me about an hour to get to Stratford, so it's probably about 3 hours. Rhinos Leeds, that's what we've done. Esdick says, thoughts on new Arteta contract. Good news for everybody. I think the timing is a little strange, if I'm honest, because I think... I guess maybe they'd probably agreed it and they thought if that they don't finish fourth, then announcing it in the summer. Some people just can't get over their criticism of Arteta. There's some honestly idiots out there. He's doing a very good job. But it does feel... I saw Kieran Canning comment, one of our patrons, and I thought that was spot on. He said it felt a little bit like when England give managers a contract extension before a major tournament, and actually invariably it doesn't work out. And it does feel a bit like that. The timing is a little strange, I think. But I think it's the right decision. It's just funny if it falls apart, that's all. James Owen says, should do the deadline stream final day. You don't want that, mate. Everyone will unsubscribe. Ethan says, what are your predictions for the 3 European finals? Well, I think Jose's Roma will win, won't they, unfortunately. Pavan says, I personally want either Luton or Nottingham Forest. You guys got a bit of interference at the moment. Just going to have a little check. It looks like I've frozen for you, but I think you can all hear me still. I think. Yeah, looks like I'm frozen. I mean, there've been worse poses for me, I suppose. It could have been worse. Graphics are still going. That's good. Let's give that a little refresh, see if that does anything. Probably not. Nah, I don't think that's going to work, is it? Right, anyway. We'll carry on for a few minutes. David Dobson, what do you think of the rumours about Pogba going to City for free? Do you think there's anything to it, or is it more likely coming from Pogba in hope of getting the move? Well, apparently, it could be true, actually. Could genuinely be true, apparently. It'd be funny. Gary Robinson says, are you looking forward to England playing 4 Nations League games in 2 weeks in June? Might give it a real tournament feel and a bit more enjoyable. Yeah. Actually, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it at the moment, but it won't feel like a nuisance. It'll feel like England's playing at the end of the season. You'll probably know I'm in support of season finishing early and internationals being at the end of the season, actually. SK says, just out of curiosity, James, what was your first reaction when Spurs sacked Mourinho just before the cup final got Ryan Mason? Can I be honest with you, he got sacked and a half hour later I'd forgot it even happened because my whole brain was so focused on what was happening with the Super League at that time. I was questioning everything that I'd thought about my support for my football team over the previous 30 years. So, to be honest, it wasn't even important at that moment. So, as I said at the time, many of you will know, said, like, he's gone and I can't even enjoy it. But, yeah, I mean, it was the best news of that day. Jay Barker says, thoughts on Frankfurt boys, Radika and Kostic, seeing them linked with Spurs this week. I don't know enough about them, Jay, to give you anything other than bullshit, so I'm not going to bullshit, mate. Rob Pix says, hi, mate, in order, who would be your top 5 Spurs strikers in the 2000s? Berbatov first by miles. Close between Defoe, Kane. Slight preference for Defoe. I liked Freddie Canute, actually. And I guess Teddy, for the first 6 months he come back, was really good. And Les Ferdinand had a good spell at that time as well. It feels wrong putting them in there, really. Definitely the top 3. That's really easy. I'm not having Darren Bent for a second. I can't be having that. Pavlyuchenko was... I liked Pav. He could finish, but he was infuriating as well. Yeah, I've still Freddie Canute for me. Mido was useless. Yeah, the best debut any of us have ever seen, did nothing else again. It was like some myth, Mido. It wasn't great at all. Raziak was terrible. Trying to think who else we had. Postiga, Zamora come in, didn't really do anything. Everson was terrible. Fucking shocking. It was the kind of end. Chris Armstrong was decent first 2 years of us, and everyone forgets that he had terrible ankle injuries, but he was gone by that point. Crouchy came in, didn't he? 09. Can I have Crouchy maybe? Now fuck it. I'm gonna say Pav actually for the fourth. I'll go Berbatov by miles first. I'll go Defoe over Keane, which will be controversial because I think most Tottenham fans would say Keane, and then I'll go Canute and I'll go Pav. David Dobson, would you take a risk of Pogba? I'd have Pogba at Spurs. Yeah, great. I'd have him. I don't think we're paying his wages somehow. James Brenner says, hi James, cheers for the great stream as always. Which outside picks would you have for England's World Cup squad? Outside picks? Outside picks. Dewsbury Hall would be one, I think, maybe. Eze, if he can get himself fit properly and have a good start to next season. Adam Webster at Brighton, maybe. I think the Dunk would have had the call up by now if it had come. Jared Bowen's obviously going to be in contention. I don't think that's going to come as a surprise to anyone. There's a few names for you. Burger Hook said, if you would go to any country to watch a World Cup, where would you like to go? Excluding Qatar, of course, as that's obviously everyone's first pick. Why would it be everyone's first pick? It'd probably be everyone's 215th pick, mate. Where would I like to go for a World Cup? Germany. Not too difficult to travel around. Big country though. Great stadiums, great atmospheres. Germany. I regret not pushing the boat out in 2006, but I wouldn't have had the money to do it back in 2006. If 2006 had happened in around about 2014 or 16, there's every chance I would have gone to Germany for a few weeks. Yeah, I can't. There's no way I'd want to do it now. I wouldn't want to leave the little lad for that long. No way. So, no, it wouldn't be for me now. The only, if Tottenham got to a Club World Cup final, he says, laughing through his teeth, maybe. Right, let's have a look at some team news. Sorry, I know those for joining in. I'm not moving at the moment for you, but I believe you can still hear me, I think. So apologies for that. Let's have a look, see what we've got team news in for the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Villa, Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Mings, Dean. So Konsa back in for, I was going to say for Chambers. Chambers in midfield. No, Coutinho doesn't start. He's a substitute. Buendia is in. So Coutinho a substitute for Aston Villa. Burnley, Barnes in up front with Weghorst. Other than that, expected. Cornet is a sub. Vidra not in the squad. Southampton. Diallo in for Romeo. Broya, Adam Armstrong up front. Che Adams is a substitute. For Brenson Jensen and Visser in for Janelt and Roslev. So that should be a change of system to a 4-3-3. Let's get the Chelsea team. That's the one you really want, isn't it, I suppose? Mason Mount is a substitute. Chelsea lineup: Mendy, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, James, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek, Alonso, Pulisic, Lukaku, Werner. So Havertz is a sub as well. Okay. Should have sold him. Hindsight's easy, isn't it? For Wolves, Raul, Johnny, and Pedro. Raul Jimenez, sorry. Johnny, Pedro Neto in the starting 11. And I think the advanced tier patrons can confirm that's the exact team I predicted for Wolves. Neto and Jimenez up front in a 3-5-2. For Watford, I note Josh King back in the team. Dennis is there. Sars there. No João Pedro in the starting lineup. Cleverly's in the team. That looks like it's Kiembe's in the team as well. So I think that's Laus and Kucha missing out. A few changes for them. Who haven't we covered? Palace. So the Palace rumours were true. Elise, Edwards, Zaha, the front three. Eze, Deepa, Gallagher, Hughes. So that rumour team was correct. Butland in goal as well instead of Gator. Mitchell still only a substitute. So that rumoured Palace team that many of you might have seen on socials earlier was correct with Mateta as a sub. Right, really quick fire for you. Take you through because the camera's frozen. Sorry about it, guys. Toby says, hi James, if Liverpool win the Champions League and FA Cup, can we class them as a treble? Do you think the treble has to include the Premier League? Look, it's a treble like it was for Liverpool in 2001, but the real treble has to include a league title. Jose Vargas says, if Spurs offered you a job, what role would you prefer to have at the club? Scout. FPL Penguin says, Liverpool fan here, Kane or Son worry me, but still confident we get the big three tonight. Kulusevski looks a right gem for you, he says. SK, is the cam frozen? Yes, sorry about that. I'm not going to restart the thing now to make it happen. Dasky21 says, good shout, Hughes, thanks for the content. Wilson Cam's frozen. Yeah, Tom Burt, Chelsea fan here, but I do think Spurs will win and it will be high scoring. Jones says, James, is there an episode where Suj discusses Zuma Catgate? Very happy to see West Ham remain a small club in London as justice for not taking Zuma out the side for a few weeks and educating him. So he goes on to say, love Suj and not fans' fault, just dislike the club response. Yeah, but there's loads of clubs who you could dislike their response. What about Liverpool and Suarez, right? I mean, come on. So, yeah, we covered it lots. We covered it lots at the time when it happened, mate. Matthew Eziashi says, no starts from Mount and Havertz today. Theodore says, how come you don't drive, James? Drank too much, or used to. And now it's just not really worth my time. Pavanar says, Mount Havertz bench, James Alonso start. FPL hits, we can hear you all right. Podcast Phil. Listen, it's always best when you can't see my face. Unfortunately, you can see my face. You're just stuck. I mean, it's not my best ever image, is it? Let's be honest. Right, that's it. Sam Vimes says Mount bench. We've got all that now. Thanks, guys. Apologies for the freezing near the end. I hope you still enjoyed the stream. Hit the like and the subscribe button on your way out. I would wave, but you won't see me do it. So enjoy your weekend. Remember, the game week is long. If you have a bad day today, doesn't mean necessarily going to have a bad game week. There's a lot of people who don't actually have that many players playing until 7:45 tonight. I am one of them. Enjoy the game week, everyone. Very best of luck. Me and Suj will be back on Monday. Ciao for now.